Now to those and more stories in detail on today's top story. Cabinet spokesman Minister Bandhanu Gronandana says that the President emphasised during the governing party meeting that the Parliament will not be dissolved at any point.
He further indicated that budget allocations have only been made for the presidential election. The minister made these remarks during the cabinet briefing held at the Government Information Department today. A journalist inquired whether the Parliament is to be dissolved by Friday midnight. Cabinet spokesman Minister Bandhanu Gronandana said that according to the Constitution, the presidential election will be conducted during the scheduled period. He said that the President, as the Minister of Finance, has allocated necessary funds from the budget. Accordingly, he said that the Election Commission will declare the election date. He said that the elections will be held in September to elect a President before the 17th of October. He said that the President clearly informed at the governing party meeting that the Parliament will not be dissolved under any circumstances.
Views were shared regarding the presidential election in Parliament today. Parliamentarian Venerable Athuruliye Ratanathera said that the government should announce whether the presidential election will be held or not. He said that in case the presidential election is postponed, then whether the general election will be held. Parliamentarian Nimal Lanza said the government will not hold parliamentary elections, which was confirmed by President yesterday. He said that the presidential election will be held as scheduled. State Minister Janaka Wakkumbara said that the Election Commission has announced the date for the election will be discussed this week. He said the relevant power to conduct the election has been vested with the Election Commission.
Commissioner General of Elections Samansri Ratnayaka says that all required steps have been taken to avoid any irregularities and corruption which may occur at the election. He made these remarks taking part in a dialogue held in Colombo yesterday under the theme Election and Voting Rights. Commissioner General of Elections Samansri Ratnayaka said that influencers and various corrupt activities take place on the election day. Accordingly, he said that most of the corrupt activities have been averted with the use of NIC and various mechanisms in place on the voting and the counting days. Therefore, he said that illicit voting cannot take place with the mechanisms in place. He said that unfortunately they were not able to conduct the local government elections. He also said that they only had incurred an expense of 1 billion rupees within 21 days. He pointed out that the entire election could have been conducted below 5 billion rupees. He pointed out that if they could introduce advance voting instead of postal vote, the expenditure could be further reduced.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa says that the presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna will be declared in a timely manner. The former presidents made these remarks while taking part in a discussion held at the party today. The meeting was convened to discuss the future of the election plans pertaining to the party. Many party seniors took part in the discussion, which was held at the party headquarters in Nelum Mawatha. Parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa said the Parliament party has been formulated to contest the elections. He said that the decision should be reached for the welfare of the nation and not for the short-term personal objectives.
ජාතික සංවිධායකනේ. ඉතින් මගේ ඩියුටි එක සූට් එක කැමති අයට අඳින්න මහන එක. ඉතින් ඊට පස්සේ ඕන කෙනෙක්ට අඳ ගන්න පුළුවන්. හුඟක් පක්ෂවලට විනාශ වුණේ සූට් එක මහන්න දීපු අය ඒක අඳ ගන්න ගිහිල්ලා. මම මේකට ලෑස්ති නෑ. රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයා මේ රටේ ජනාධිපති.
Minister Prasanna Ramatunga said that the President Ranil Wickremesinghe should be re-elected for a new term. He said that the President managed to instill law and peace in a country while stopping the crisis and public outcry. He said the President managed to build the economy again, for they should be respecting the President.
ඒකට කරු කරන්න මහින්ද මහත්තයා වෙනුවෙන් අපි එළියට බැස්සේ මහින්ද මහත්තයා යුද්ධ ජයග්‍රහණය කරපු. එතුමා රටට වැඩක් කරපු නායක. අදටත් අපි එතුමත් එක්ක ඉන්නවා. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි වෙතෙන්ට එන්නේ අද. ඒ වගේම තමයි මම විශ්වාස කරනවා පක්ෂ හරි තීන්දුවක් හරි වෙලාවට ගන්නවා.
සර් කොහොමද මේ අපේක්ෂකයා
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa said that no decision was regarding the candidate. He said that a candidate will be announced with time. He said that this candidate will win the election.
විශ්වාසයද ජයග්‍රහණය කරයි කියලා?
අනිවාර්යයෙන්.
ධම්මික පෙරේර මහතාගේ නමත් කියනවා ඒක ඇත්තද?
එක එක්කෙනාගේ නම් තියෙනවා ධම්මික පෙරේරා අර පෙරේරා මේ පෙරේරා ඔක්කොම ඉන්නවා.
ඔබතුමාගේ හිතේ කවුද ඉන්නේ?
මගේ හිතේ තියෙන එක ධම්ම කියන්නේ නැහැ මම.
Minister Manusha Naikar says that Sri Lankan nationals employed in Bangladesh are safe and secure.
Meanwhile, attention was directed on the death threats directed on Chairman of Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation, Hudson Samarasinghe. It was revealed in Parliament today that an attorney linked to Janata Vinukti Peramuna has allegedly obtained 5.5 million rupees over a court case on the removal of 62 employees of the Ceylon Electricity Board due to protests carried out in the recent past. Parliamentarian Rajika Wickramasinghe said that Bangladesh is currently in a crisis situation on the government quota system. She inquired the issues faced by Sri Lankans who have migrated for education and employment. Minister Manusha Naikar said that 2,835 are currently residing in Bangladesh. However, he said that the number of students are yet to be acquired. He said that the High Commission in Bangladesh has not reported any incident which involves a Sri Lankan national with the ongoing crisis. He said that necessary measures will be taken to repatriate Sri Lankans in a safe manner if the situation escalates. He also said that the situation in Bangladesh reminds of the situation in Sri Lanka 2 years before. He said that President Ranil Wickramasinghe managed to put a stop to this situation and managed to rebuild the nation from the crisis. Minister Bandhu Gunawardena said that the life of Chairman of Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation has been endangered with death threats levelled by JVP member Vasantha Samarasinghe. He said that leaders in the democratic political system has the strength to withstand any criticism levelled against them by the opposition despite their political stance. He requested all parties including JVP to conduct the elections in a free and fair manner and free from threats. He also said that if a journalist is threatened, the CID following a complaint will provide adequate protection. Minister Kanchana Wijayasekara said that several trade unions informed that the political parties they represented in the trade union action are collecting funds for legal procedures. He said that JVP representatives are responsible for instigating the trade unions. He also said that a JVP attorney, according to the trade unions, has obtained 5.5 million rupees to represent the 62 trade union members.
Cabinet of Ministers granted approval to grant an interest relief for pawn advances which remained 100,000 rupees obtained from the licensed banks before June 30th. The relevant proposal was furnished by President Ranil Wickramasinghe. Accordingly, an interest relief will be granted by the General Treasury subject to a maximum of an annual 10% for pawn advances. As a result of the economic crisis, pawning gold jewellery took place accelerated. Accordingly, the objective of the initiative is to grant relief for low-income generating community who obtain the pawn advances. Minister Bandhu Gunawardena said that the methodical plan is in place for a program required to address social issues such as poverty and malnourishment. He said that this requires social security policy which should remain intact despite government change. Approval of the Cabinet of Ministers was granted on March 25th to revise National Minimum Wage of Workers Act No. 3 of 2016. The Cabinet of Ministers granted approval for the proposal to furnish by Minister Manusha Naikar to publish a draft bill in Government to Gazette notification and subsequently submit the same to Parliament for concurrence. The Cabinet of Ministers has approved the proposal presented by President Ranil Wickramasinghe to instruct legal draftsmen to prepare a draft to introduce appropriate amendments to the Inland Revenue Act No. 24 of 2017 to expedite and formalise the tax appeal process. Approval of the Cabinet of Ministers was granted at their meeting held on February 12 to prepare a draft bill to amend the Security Online Act of 9 of 2024 with new amendments. Accordingly, clearance of the Attorney General has been received to draft bill prepared by the legal draftsman. The Cabinet of Ministers approved the proposal forwarded by Minister Tiran Alas to publish draft bill in Government to Gazette notification and subsequently present the same to Parliament for its concurrence. Minister Bandhu Gunawardena said that based on the conditions stipulated during the signing of the extended fund facility with IMF, the government was recommended to introduce a significant number of stern action against corruption. Accordingly, he said that a new law has been introduced which can be recognized in international level to face against corruption. As stipulated in the guidelines published by the Ministry of Health and the Clinical Management of COVID-19, cremation was made compulsory in removal of dead bodies of persons who died with COVID-19 virus. A decision was granted to displeasure among various religious groups, human rights activists, especially in Muslim religious persons. The studies made in this respect have been confirmed that feces and urine are the primary source of transmission of the virus, but not in a safe burial. Therefore, in order to prevent the arisen has such conditions in the future, attention has been drawn to introduce a law. A certain persons or relations should be selected for a burial or cremation with dead persons at their discretion. Further, it has been seen that the introduction of new laws appropriate to donate dead bodies for medical faculty if necessary. Accordingly, Cabinet of Ministers has approved a joint proposal presented by Minister Vijay Rajpaksha and Ali Sabri to instruct the legal draftsman in order to prepare a draft for introduction of a new law. Minister Bandul Gunawardena said that the state policy was decided and acted based on the recommendations of doctors and expert committees. He said that the apology extended from government towards affected entities, including the Muslim community.
The Indian government's budget allocation for the Ministry of External Affairs in the fiscal year 2024-2025 has marked increased allocations to Nepal, Sri Lanka and Seychelles, with a drop in support for other neighbouring countries. For Sri Lanka, 2,450 million Indian rupees have been allotted this year, compared to 1,500 million Indian rupees from last year. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman presented her 7th consecutive budget in Parliament today. She announced key employment schemes and also revised the tax structure in the new tax regime, while the slabs in old tax regime remain unchanged. Union Budget 2024-2025 identified 9 priorities for generating ample opportunities. The productivity and resilience in agriculture, employment and skilling, inclusive human resource development and social justice, manufacturing and service, urban development, energy security, infrastructure, innovation, research and development and next generation reforms. The budget allocation for Sri Lanka, Nepal and Seychelles has been increased. Development aid for the countries Bhutan, Bangladesh, Myanmar and Mauritius had decreased in this year's budget. Meanwhile, the allocation for Maldives and Afghanistan remained unchanged as compared to last year. Prime Minister Narendra Modi stated that the Union Budget 2024 will benefit all sections of society and lay the foundation for a developed India.
The Specialist Committee to address salary discrepancies in the government service is now expecting proposals to revising salaries and allowances. The application forms can be downloaded from the official website of the Presidential Secretariat. Accordingly, application can be downloaded by visiting the website www.presidentsoffice.gov.lk. All proposals must be prepared using MS Word in 12-point Schooler Pother font. A PDF version should be emailed to saec@presidentsoffice.lk by August 9th. If proposals involve positions other than the specified ones, separate forms must be completed and justification reports should be prepared using Annexure 1 form, which can also be downloaded from the website Presidential Secretariat. Only soft copies of the relevant information is needed to be provided. If a hard copy is necessary, it should be sent to Secretary, Specialist Committee appointed to address the salary discrepancies in the government service, Presidential Secretariat, Galle Face, Colombo 1 by August 9th. Delivery can be made via registered post or hand delivery. The Specialist Committee will review all suggestions and applicants will be notified via email or WhatsApp within 2 weeks of scheduled discussion with the institution, trade union or civil organization representing them. The Specialist Committee requests that proposals and justifications to be limited to one-page report.
Now, if you're awake late at night tomorrow, look up to the sky to observe the Saturn and Moon conjunction that will be observable on that night till early morning Thursday. And this is a rare event as Saturn-Moon conjunctions only occurs once in 20 years.
The giant telescope at the Arthur C. Clarke Institute for Modern Technologies will be opened for the general public on 24th night, particularly from 11 p.m. up till 3 a.m. in the following day. That is about 4-hour period. For a particular event, this celestial event, which is a very rare one, is occultation of Saturn, actually the lunar occultation of Saturn. This means the planet Saturn will go behind the moon for a period of 1 hour and 20 minutes starting from 12:50, that means 50 minutes after midnight in the morning of 25th. So 12:50 it will start, then the Saturn will be disappeared behind the moon and it will be reappeared again around 2:10 am on 25th. That is 1 hour and 20 minutes roughly period. The event is very rare and the next such an event will be visible to Sri Lankans only on in April 2037. So it is a very rare event. And then if the sky is full of clouds and if you can't see stars, don't come to the Arthur C. Clarke Institute. Otherwise, you can come, the public is invited from 11 p.m. onwards till 3 a.m. on 25th morning.
A ceremony to distribute textbooks for the year 2025 was held in Homagama today. The event was held with the participation of Minister Susil Premajayant. The ceremony was held at the textbook storage facility in Pitipana, Homagama. The issuance of textbooks for each region was carried out with the participation of Minister Susil Premajayant and State Minister Arvind Kumar. Officials from Education Ministry and State Printing Corporation were present at the occasion. Minister Susil Premajayant said that there was no ability to print textbooks in 2022 with no paper or material. He said that the country was deprived of foreign exchange and funds. However, he said that within 2 years, they were able to print and distribute textbooks in a timely manner.
Lay students at Pirivan and Silamata educational institutions will receive scholarship awards from the President's Fund tomorrow. The event will be held at the Temple Trees with the participation of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. 3,000 students will receive scholarships. The Presidential Scholarship Program was initiated as a concept of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Approximately 3,000 out of 5,000 scholarships will be awarded to lay students, student monks and Silamata in Pirivan and Silamata educational institutions. This marks the first scholarship program of its kind for lay clergy students in Pirivan. The initiative extends financial support to student monks studying up to the Pirivan ordinary level and lay students up to the GCE ordinary level, providing them with 9,000 rupees initially and 3,000 rupees monthly for 12 months. Further support is available for student monks, Silamata and lay students who pass the Pirivan or GCE ordinary level exams and progress to the Prachina or GCE advanced level examinations. They will receive 6,000 rupees monthly, with this support continuing for up to 24 months or until their exams. Each recipient will receive a lump sum of 18,000 rupees at the award ceremony to cover outstanding installments. In the coming days, installment payments will be deposited directly into the bank accounts of other lay clergy scholarship recipients not present at the ceremony. The selection of scholarship winners involved the full cooperation of each Pirivenadipatithera or institute director, with oversight from the Piriven education sections under the Ministry of Education. The President's Fund has committed nearly 300 million rupees annually to this program, which aims to reach all 10,126 schools on the island, benefiting from 106,000 students. The first phase of this 12-year program is now near completion. These initiatives highlight President Wickremesinghe's commitment to ensuring that no one in need of support is left behind during these challenging times.
The census for the second phase of the Aswasuma Welfare Benefit Program is scheduled to be completed by July 31st. Additionally, for families who missed the opportunity to apply during the first phase, applications were called again in February, resulting in approximately 454,924 applications. A special press briefing was held at Presidential Media Centre yesterday in this regard. Welfare Benefits Board Chairman Jayantha Vijayaratna said that at the end of the census, the information of the respective families is reviewed by the selection committees. He added that these committees monitor the census family information and approve the calculation of selection criteria. The selection criteria is then calculated and a score is assigned to determine the poverty levels using a scientific method across 6 dimensions of education, health, economic status, assets, housing conditions and family demographics. The system then generates a list of eligible candidates. Welfare benefits payments are made under 4 social categories, namely transitional, vulnerable, poor and extremely poor. Additionally, allowances are provided to disadvantaged groups such as disabled, elderly and kidney patients. Approximately 3.4 million applications were received for the first phase of the program, with 1,854,000 deemed eligible for benefits. The government allocates 58.5 billion rupees for this phase. Welfare Benefits Board has introduced a new mobile application featuring capabilities of taking photos, geomapping and voice recording to enhance the efficiency of field information collection for the Aswasuva Welfare Benefits Program.
The project to expand and develop the Atharugiriya junction was commenced today. It was held with the participation of Minister Bandula Gunawardena. The project has been initiated under the state financial provisions allocated through this year's budget. 280 million rupees has been allocated for this project. Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that the country received fuel, gas and electricity during the crisis period after President Ranil Wickremesinghe signed the IMF's extended fund facility. He said that if the agreement is to be annulled, then the country would last for a mere period of 1 month. He said that the budget cannot be drafted without the assistance from international organizations and other countries as well as the IMF. He pointed out that the external resources gap for the year 2025 is around $5 billion. He said that the IMF under the extended fund facility is expected to provide $663 million, while IMF is extending another $700 million to draft the budget. He said that the World Bank is extending $400 million, while Asian Development Bank is extending $300 million. He said that another concessionary loan assistance of $3,800 will also be received. Accordingly, he said that international agreements have been signed for a debt moratorium until 2028. He said that these agreements will be turned into law in Parliament this week.
Development Lotteries Board awarded cheques for another group of winners today. It was held with the participation of Chairman of the Board, Ajit Naragala. 55 winners of 2 million and 1 million cash prizes from each district in the country received their cheques and certificates. Jackpot winners of the Suparidhana Sampatha, Kapruka and Lagnavasana lotteries also received their cash prizes during the event. The Development Lotteries Board is the main state agency which contributes to the President's Fund for the patients with serious illnesses, heart patients and complex surgeries as well as Mahapur Scholarship Program.
Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa says that 9 international level nurse training centres will be provided for each province in the country. He made his remarks while taking part in the Sakvala program held at the St. John the Baptist Mahavidyalaya in Jayala, Gampaha. This is the 361st Sakvala program. Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa said that they will be able to produce smart citizens by imparting an international level education for students. He said that this massive human resource capital could immensely contribute to economic development of the country. He said that this is an initial step and they will establish 9 international level nurse training centres under public and private partnership initiatives. He said that this would enable the access to a large job market for the country. He also said that they are expecting to establish youth development centres with educated next generation in the grassroots levels.
විද්වතුන් බිහි කරන උගතුන් බිහි කරන ඉහළ නිපුණතාවයක් කුසලතාවයක් ඇති දරු පරපුරක් යොවුන්
Leader of the National People's Power Nandu Kumara Dissanayake met with a group of Sri Lankan businessmen in Tokyo yesterday. Leader of the National People's Power, Nandu Kumara Dissanayake, said that the political culture has affected the inflow of investment into the country, which has also affected the revenue earnings. He said that the political culture should be changed as an initial step. Accordingly, He said that under their government, they will not misuse the state's resources unnecessarily to identify and meet the requirements of the public. He said that they will change the political culture in the country for a better future.
The United National Party challenges the opposition to present any alternative mechanism to rebuild the nation apart from President's program. UNP Dulapiti electoral organizer Kitsiri Manjnayaka made these remarks while taking part in a media briefing held at the Sirikota Party headquarters today. UNP Dulapiti electoral organizer Kitsiri Manjnayaka said that he challenges anyone who could provide more relief for the public through an alternative mechanism. He said that former Minister Eran Wickramaratne in media interviews said that the current government program is the most appropriate mechanism in place, but they would change a few aspects. UNP Damadani electoral organizer Bharata Tenakun said that Janata Vimukti Peramuna and frontliners who started the protests in the country now are engaging in walk to rule campaigns. He said that they are attempting to destabilize the country. Foreign news on the other side of this break.
Kamuda macang, prima kotumi, fantamai.
The United States Secret Service chief had admitted to Congress that the agency failed to prevent the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump on July 13, campaign held in Butler County, Pennsylvania. Kimberly Chait stated that the incident was the most significant operational failure at the Secret Service in decades. Director Kimberly Chait, who faces Republican calls for her removal, stated yesterday that in testimony before the Committee Oversight Accountability in the United House of Representatives, the assassination on former President Donald Trump on July 13th was the most significant operational failure at the Secret Services in decades. The shooting at an outdoor campaign rally wounded the former President Donald Trump in right ear and killed one rally attendee and injured two others. The suspected shooter, a 20-year-old nursing home aide, Thomas Matthew Crooks, was killed by law enforcement. The motive for the shooting is yet to be cleared.
Vice President Kamala Harris secured the support of a majority of Democratic delegates to become the party's nominee for president. A survey by the Associated Press yesterday evening stated she had received the endorsement of more than 1,976 delegates needed to win the nomination in the first round of voting. The Vice President had already won the backing of enough delegates to secure the Democratic nomination, but while Kamala Harris can hardly have hoped for a better start in establishing legitimacy among Democrats after President Joe Biden stepping down from his re-election campaign, she is still just hours into a mission that ranks as the most daunting for any modern potential presidential nominee. And the full intensity of Republican nominee Donald Trump's attacks is yet to unfold in the most unpredictable election season in generations.
Kamuda macang, prima kotumi, fantamai.
And in your sports news tonight, Charita Salanka has been bestowed with the responsibility to lead the Sri Lankan side in the T20 series against India.
The tournament will begin on the 27th. The Sri Lankan squad for the upcoming series is comprised of 16 players. In an official communique, the Sri Lankan cricket announced the squad today. The team includes Pathum Nisanka, Kusal Janit Pereira, Avishka Fernando, Kusal Mendes, Dinesh Chandimal, Kamidu Mendes, Dasun Chanaka, Vanidu Hasaranga, Dunit Velalage, Mahesh Tichana, Chamidu Vikramasinghe, Mahesh Patrana, Nuan Tashara, and Dushmanta Chamira and Birnura Fernando. Chamidu Vikramasinghe has been called to the Sri Lankan squad for the first time. The T20 series between Sri Lanka and India is comprised of 3 matches and all will be played at Pallekele International Cricket Stadium.
Kamuda macang, prima kotumi, fantamai.
That's it for tonight's English News telecast. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Good night.